Let's see what this is about right here.
Men who feel like they should have multiple wives, just like the ancient Egyptian kings. Frankly, I don't care who did it in ancient Egyptian history. Polygamy is unfair as hell.
So he's basically the perfect guy, and he gives the perfect advice. But it looks like Mr. Perfect is not so perfect at all.
Now, he flew her to Miami July 4th of 2020, okay? He flew her. They stayed in the same hotel room. They had a yacht party. Everything was going down. They had sex the entire weekend.
The reason he was not posting them is because he wanted to do what he wanted to do, which is play around with other women.
Frankly, I don't care who did it in ancient Egyptian history. Polygamy is unfair as hell.
He even admitted to cheating on his wife before, and he told the girl that the wife never found out.
Polygamy is unfair as hell. There are men who feel like they should have multiple wives, just like the ancient Egyptian kings. Frankly, I don't care who did it in ancient Egyptian history. Polygamy is unfair as hell. Polygamy is unfair as hell. Polygamy is unfair as hell.
Polygamy is unfair as hell.
Woo! Strong words, brother. And you speaking straight up, bro. I don't know how much research you've put into poly-type relationships or our ancient ancestry practices. But I think you're speaking from a whole different place, man. And I think that you believe in the Bible, of course. You talked about being a man of God, of course, in your last video. If you look in there, somewhere in there, it says pride comes before a fall, right? Mm-hmm. And you're on there, you're talking about what's fair and what's unfair. My question to you is, what you're putting your wife through right now unfair? Or is that fair? What you've been putting her through in the past, here recently, is that fair? Like, honestly, poly is something where all parties agree to the relationship and the dynamics therein. Right. You're saying that something that all people agree to is unfair. Speaking in on what other parties agree to, saying what they agree to is unfair. I don't know if you realize how weird that sounds. If you walk into a room and you realize people have came to an agreement, and then you speak in on their agreement and say it's unfair. But meanwhile, in your agreement, you're actually doing things that are crossing the boundaries and going outside of the commitments in your actual agreement. Mm-hmm. But you're telling someone else what fair and unfair is. It's just not logical. I'm gonna see if my queens have anything to say to you, bro. But Lacey.
I mean, I just think the whole thing is crazy. And it's kind of shocking to me because I actually was a follower at one point. So I know your content very well. I've even sought it, or started out for some type of advice at that particular time. And being a hypocrite is not something I expected, let alone the view of poly. As Kev was saying, that's something that all parties agree to. However, in your position, this wasn't something that your wife subscribed to. So I would look at your situation as being more unfair as opposed to a lifestyle like ours. But that's just me speaking to the logic of it all. Of course, maybe you're speaking more from emotion at this moment, which is understandable because I can imagine emotions are running high because it's not just your relationship is at stake, but your what you're known for and your image. So I would imagine you being in an emotional place, which is completely understandable.
What you feel like, Jamie?
I feel like this. I'm like, when you're out there and you have a platform, you have to be careful. You have to walk it like you talk it. You can't be out here just doing what you want to do. And if you do want to do that, you got to be honest. That's what poly is all about. Mm-hmm. This understanding. We all are in agreement. So no one has to step out. We're all with honesty here. So like I said, walk it like you talk it.
Facts.
And I'll tell you this, guys, now, as far as Derek goes, he says that's unfair. Derek, my question to you is this now. Consider the lifestyle you've been living, right? You've been cheating and covering it up. Now just think about this. You do a lot of your videos, or most of your content, rather. I see what everybody's saying. I've actually never listened to your content, but seeing what everyone says, they talk about your content being done from your car, right? And how they've never met your wife, never seen inside of your place, things of that nature. I don't mind things like that. I do videos in my car, but if it was to hide her from either the women that you're dealing with or whatever. And of course, you're hiding the women that you're dealing with from her. So you know you're hiding your phone. You know you're putting login phone numbers in, probably it's different numbers. You're deleting messages. And I just want to ask you, like, forget being a man, because we always talk about wanting to be a man, but just being an adult, right? Do you feel like an adult doing that? Like, how does it feel in your soul when you're hiding your phone, lying? You're grown up, right? Not a grown man, but just a grown person, right? You're an adult, and you're lying. Like, lying. This person is not going to take their belt off and whip you, right? Why not just choose a lifestyle of honesty? Like, seriously. Like, if you're going to do all this crap to cover up your mess, they don't damage your own soul just trying to do that shit. Like, I know you're trying to hide it, but pleasuring yourself, fulfilling your own desires, if it means you got to go hiding everything, like, we all do. And I ain't talking about just like relationship stuff, but anything that you got to just hide from somebody else because you know it can ruin your relationship. Like, why not just be honest instead of living in fear like that? You see? Or if you be honest and it doesn't get you that desire, like, hey, I want to sleep with other women, or I would like to have another relationship. If this is your honesty and she or he is not going for it, then be a man or woman of your word, right? And end the relationship or commitment before you actually cheat. Like, that's cold-blooded, family. You know, so it's like, it's easy from the outside looking in to say what's fair and unfair, but often more times than not, when we have our desire in our way, we get possessed by our desire, right? So Derek has a lot of insight from what I hear, right? But the way he gave off this thing, what I just heard was just trying to say it's unfair. I don't like how he delivered that, because I, for one, don't feel like it's unfair. I don't feel like anything is unfair that people agree to, right? So if two people agree to something, it must work for both of them in ways that they feel benefited in that thing. So it's not for us on the outside to tell other people what's fair for them. And this is what happens in relationships. You go ask someone about something in your relationship and they tell you they wouldn't go for it. They tell you that you're putting up with too much. And so now you're trying to honor how another person feels, and you take that into your relationship. And now your person is no longer dating you. They're dating that person that you went and got advice from. And this is what we do. Stop this stuff. You don't tell somebody else what's good enough for them or too good for them. They make their decisions. That's their decisions. Like, I wouldn't even tell your wife now that she's wrong for taking you back or anything. Like, that's her decision. She chose to take you back for whatever reasons. Whatever your relationship looks like from here on out, that's it. If she cheats on you, I won't say that's fair, you deserve it, or that's not for me to judge. Like, I feel like that's going too far, right? So I feel like offer insight, but you don't ever tell somebody what's fair. Like, you know what I mean? Unless it goes outside of dynamics. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, family, like, I saw this video. I thought it was hella funny. And again, pride comes before a fall. You can't sit here and be talking crazy like that. And then again, all this stuff comes out. I could have clipped all kind of crazy stuff that I'm seeing people say about him, but I'm sure his life's already rough enough right now. But as soon as I saw the video, I went and got my queens. I was like, look, let's just do a side-by-side with this video, man, because I feel like he coming in our relationship, and this will give us an opportunity to offer some insight back to the brother, so, and to you guys as well. So that's it, family. Be evolution, be the change that you want to see. Be the change that you want to see. All right, no candle loses its flame from lighting the other. And if you would ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, what is it, y'all?
It's in that chaos that you will find yourself.
Right there. Peace, family.